This is Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Abuja, thank you so much for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info, your passionate, trustworthy, and conversational radio station. And yes, what a great day. Set over the first edition of the listeners' debate. It was intense, it was animated, it was fiery, it was all that. And you were a part of it from start to finish. Thank you so much for that. Well, it's time for Hard Facts, and it will get even more interesting and more intense from now to 7 p.m. So welcome to the show. We start off with the roundtable, looking at some of the big stories driving conversation, and then we shift gear into something even more topical. And we encourage that you be a part of the conversation. Your opinion counts, just like your vote. It does matter that you share your thoughts with us here. So welcome. My name is Kimberly. Call me the Oracle, the fellow, OTF, Madam Speaker, and you're correct. And my guy is here.
Hi, Kim. Good afternoon. I liked you on the listeners' debate today. It was good to listen to listeners go back and forth, and you try to sell your candidates and share their thoughts as well as to what they think could be done better in the election. So it was really good.
Thank you. Yes. Good to know you listened also. All right, it's time for the roundtable, and as usual, every Wednesday we have our very own Dr. Majeed Dahiru with us in the studio. He's a researcher, a columnist, and the tech team lead of Luke's Terra Leadership Foundation. We're delighted to have him join us in the studio again. Dr. Majeed.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
What's with the sigh of relief? Like, what's that sigh for? Is it a relief or Naija, here we go again?
Naija, here we go again, really. It's good to have you back, the Oracle.
Thank you
we
so
missed you on
much.
The show.
Yeah.
Even though your guy, your partner held it down very well. Mm-hmm. But then we are happy to have you back.
Thank you so much. And some people were trying to bring me up to speed, like, Madam Speaker, why you were gone? The Oracle, why you were away? I said, no, I didn't go too far. I was following what was happening. I was not under any rock. So Naija is quite an interesting country. And seeing that we have the election just a few days away, it gets even more interesting. And talking about interesting, every 24 hours can come with all kinds of surprises and a spin and a turnaround. 1 minute you think you can bet your paycheck on what's going to happen. The next thing you're losing all your money. For example, people are just waiting for Mr. President to get back to us on the 10th of February. But the Supreme Court, which is the apex bank, got back to us before Mr. President.
Yes.
And it looks like he's just definitely going to go with the Supreme Court at this point in time, as the restrained CBN from implementing deadline for old Naira note validity. Now, the implication of this ruling is that the old 200, 500, 1,000 Naira note remain valid after the February 10 deadline given by the CBN. The Supreme Court has restrained the federal government from implementing the 10th of February deadline for the old note. And three northern states, Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara, had in a motion expurgate filed on the 3rd of February by their lawyer, Abdul Hakim Mustafa, prayed the apex court to halt the central bank Naira redesign policy. A 7-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, in a unanimous ruling, granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government, the CBN, commercial banks from implementing the February 10 deadline for the old notes to be a legal tender. The court further held that the federal government, the CBN, commercial bank must not continue with the deadline pending the determination of a notice in respect of the issue on February 15. So by this ruling, old note continue to be legal tender. Doesn't matter what the president says, 10, it will be legal tender. At least we get to the 15 and we'll see what happens from that point on.
Yes. This development is one that is very good for the polity. It's a commendable development. At least it gives us enough time to re-strategize and restore some sanity into the economic ecosystem in Nigeria. Now, the Supreme Court didn't say that the federal government should jettison its policy on redesigning the Naira or its cashless policy. No, that's not the import of this ruling today. It simply says that the deadline you have set should be suspended for now until all parties come to the court on the 15th of February to argue the substance of the matter. And for close watchers of the polity, this is like a safe landing for all contenders in this issue. They have maintained their grounds. The federal government on one part, the CBN, and those who are against the deadline, not the policy. And what is the issue in contention? It's as simple as the fact that the new notes in question are grossly inadequate in circle. You have not printed enough new notes. In fact, according to figures being quoted, not contradicted by the CBN, is that you have between 300 and 350 billion naira printed in a policy or in a system that was saturated with 3.5 trillion naira before the policy was implemented. So you have is a recipe for chaos. You cannot print less than is required, and you are insisting that the deadline should be February 10th, even when banks, a lot of banks, are struggling to meet the demand of their customers. If you go in the country, I was in my village over the weekend. It was hell on earth.
Wow.
People are suffering. You could see the frustration. It was palpable. In Abuja, it is the same thing. Inflation is setting overnight. You know why? The cost of Naira itself has gone up. As on my way to this place today, I stopped over at the Central Mosque to buy one or two of those items I used to buy from my household, and everything has increased in price. I stopped over at City Plaza to pick up lunch. My lunch package has increased in price. Yes.
Overnight?
Since the people are buying Naira to transact, what do you expect? Now, let us now interrogate the policy itself. I say this because a lot of people are supporting the policy, even though they are under the sun, struggling to get money, because they think it will prevent vote buying. They think that this is something that will help to sanitize the electoral process.
But isn't it adding up? The desperation we see from some quarters, particularly politicians, is indicative
Thank you very
that
much.
it is capable of ruining their plans.
Thank you very much. Let me go back to the beginning of this issue. We need to interrogate this matter very well, so that we're not misconstrued.
Okay.
If you recall, the very first time this policy was announced, I told you that what you are seeing today will be the possible outcomes of that person. That the design itself was on, and I was querying the cost to the federal government at this time. Because that is this in depth. The redesign of Naira, is that our priority? How much was used to embark on this project? Nobody has had that question. That's one. Now, when they set the cashless limit, I also think that's not a problem. Nigeria will be a cashless country. And I will emphasize one of the most cashless countries in the whole world. Between 2010 and today, yes. and I'll go into that. It's because Ahmed Tinubu, the candidate APC, raised an alarm in Abuja. People misconstrued it to mean he was frustrated with his inability to raise funds to buy votes at the polling units. That's not true. No. Go and listen to what he said. He's the candidate of the ruling party, APC. And he's saying, on the eve of election, with fuel queues and Naira queues, this is like an internal sabotage within the system to make sure I fail in this election. Because Nigerian people will turn against the APC. And if this is not checked, it even derail the election itself. If you have riots all over the country, as you've already seen some pockets of riots across the country, how are you to conduct elections? INEC themselves raised an alarm later that, look, first scarcity might impede on the conduct of the elections. And so, this was what the man was trying to say. And as a Nigerian, sometimes leave the messenger out of the message and look at how it affects you. And that is what I have been talking about all this while. It's not about Tinubu. It's not about the politicians. The only you see politicians now raising alarm is because if you go to their constituencies, they are about to lose election because their party has imposed on the people unprecedented level of hardship. That is the concern they have. And it's going to create a national security situation. No matter how corrupt our politicians are, one thing they don't want to see happen is to destabilize Nigeria. Because that is the cash cow. The policy was not well thought out. It was a politically motivated policy. The CBN has no business bringing up policies to vote buying. No. It's an abomination economically. The CBN is supposed to be concerned with monetary policies to stabilize the economy.
Well, in their defense, that wasn't the only argument they put forward.
The president himself made
it wasn't the only argument they put out at the time.
Look, the president made a statement. It's on video. Well circulated. Let nobody in doubt on why he's supporting the policy. Other reasons they gave, I have also been challenged by who know, and I'll give you some of those reasons. Just by the fact that there's too much money in circulation, and they need to curb inflation. And we have made that clear that no, Nigeria does not have the problem of excess money in circulation. No. As the end of 2022, money supply in Nigeria totaled 52 trillion naira. Out of the 2 trillion naira, it's only 3.5% that is cash backed. 6%. That's one of the lowest in the world. You know why? Since 2010, Nigeria has gradually embraced cashless policy. We do more transactions online now. Convenient. You have to from one part of the world to the other, carrying cash in sacks, going to buy goods to distribute. No. You simply send your monies online across to your customers, and then they send you your goods. It's as simple as that. In fact, Nigeria has done so well in terms of cashless policy that we have a vibrant digital economy as a result. And Nigerian startups are leading fintechs all over the world today. That they've leveraged on digitalized economy we operate in Nigeria to do that. However, there's no economy in the world without cash. You see, the 3.5 you're talking about apparently is the formal sector. Those who need cash for their everyday transaction, who need cash to enter Keke Napep, to buy bole by the roadside, who are paid cash as per daily pay, those who go into the hinterlands to buy produce.
But if that's the case, then why is the country heavily disrupted with the cash
because you
situation?
have a significant chunk of economy and your GDP as the informal sector. The big boys are not bothered about this policy. I keep telling you. Because Dangote does not need cash to live. Adenuga does not need cash to live. You don't need to carry cash to manufacture to buy cement. You pay your money online. Trillions of naira. His refinery don't collect cash for me to give you the 5 petroleum. There's this notion out there that politicians have a tendency of storing cash and putting it on the ground. And that they will bring it out their soccer ways to buy votes. You see, there's something we must actually, is a myth that we must debunk, because that is the basis why some people are suffering and yet smiling over this policy. I've said it several times since 2011, Nigeria's electoral process has become dollarized thoroughly. That's why at primary elections, it is dollars that is shared. At general elections, at the state level, it is dollars that is deployed. The only thing that the politician needs to do is to deploy dollars down to polling unit level. Simple. And mop up the available cash wherever they can get it. However, vote buying at polling units is the most insignificant activity in the value chain of monetized election in Nigeria. The real money that influenced election has been this long ago through patronage, contract, appointments, online transactions, all of them. For example, if I'm supporting a candidate today, and that candidate has given me contracts past, has sustained my business past, I don't need him to bring money for the election. I will take part of that money that I've earned through online transactions, cash some of it at the end of the day, and go to my family or my community. This is how it works. Your influencers, your big-time peer consultants have been paid to influence opinion towards certain kind of candidates. So the polling unit money is the most significant. Let me also add, since 1999, vote buying at the polling units have never influenced the election of any president in Nigeria.
Do we have statistics to back that up?
I can give you one of it. In 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari defeated an incumbent whose investigation later revealed massive amount of money that was due that as an election campaign fund for the PDP. Yet Buhari defeated them, APC defeated them. What does that tell you? Nigerians are not irredeemably corrupt as they tend to paint us. Nigerians have the capacity to discern and say, he has the good qualities, I will vote for him. And that is why in this election, an insignificant party like Labour Party has become the third force party. Because a man called Peter Obi is on their platform. Who many Nigerians, whether they're in the majority yet, on the 25th we will know. But for now, many Nigerians feel he has the qualities to deliver. And today, all polls are putting him ahead of the election. It tells you the insignificance of money at the presidential level. Why am I giving this background? If you as a president now decide that you want to fight vote buying, and you now bring a policy that is going to impoverish, reduce people to misery, disrupt the economy this much, create inflation, create crisis, and create social unrest. In fact, what most of you don't know is this policy was going to cripple security operations, particularly in the northeast and in the northwest. You know why?
Why?
Soldiers are paid habit allowance daily in cash. The army, throughout last week, I don't know if today, battled to raise the new Naira notes so as to continue that payment. Because they risk mutiny of people that are putting their lives in the line.
But wouldn't it be something that the CBN would have waded in, just like with the case of INEC?
If they had waded into it,
and the CBN says, we're not going to use us as scapegoats, we are going to provide the cash that is
it's
required
not the
for your
responsibility of
logistics.
CBN to be picking and choosing to provide cash for. If the CBN had waded in, the chairman, National Senate Committee on Army wouldn't have voiced it. You don't expect the army to come out and tell you this. These are the issues on ground. The 36 state governors, initially the PDP played along. It's a good policy. But it dawned on them on Tuesday, Atiku issued a statement calling the president to order to say, look, your policy might be good. The implementation is creating social unrest. So do something about the implementation. Now, the 36 governors, it's not just 3 governors that went to court. They went to court on behalf of the 36 state governors of the country, including Abuja, including PDP, including APC. And what is it? You don't have enough new notes to go around. You cannot suspend its use midway. And they give examples of other countries. The US have from time to time changed currency notes. I mean, the other coloring or whatever, the printed new notes. Dollar remains valid forever. It never expires. The pound sterling remains valid at least for 2 years as legal tender. And if it's beyond 2 years, you can take it to the bank and change. In fact, pound sterling from the Second World War was recently changed in the Bank of England, even though it was started. Now, let us now interrogate the issue of the haste. Why the haste to suspend the use of old notes when the new ones have not circulated enough? And talking about vote buying again, let us even assume that it is true. The only thing we succeed in doing is that you cannot prevent the big men from holding cash, no matter how small the cash is in circulation. That would have reduced the value of votes in Nigeria. So if they are planning to buy 5,000 per vote before, because of unavailability of notes and the suffering that's cost, 200 Naira can do the job. So either way, vote buying will happen. If the president wanted to stop vote buying by 2023, which he didn't stop in 2019 when he was contesting, what he should have done is to do the right thing. And what is the right thing? The only way to put an end to vote buying is to groom Nigerian citizens into an economically empowered people that are enlightened enough to be rational in their choice of democratic leadership, such that they will not even be tempted to take money to vote.
So how would he have done that?
Economic development in 8 years. Educational development in 8 years. So that by today, Nigerians would have gone past that level. He failed in that responsibility and trying to now do it 2 months to election in a manner that is not creating pain for Nigerian people is something that nobody should encourage. If you listen to the CBN governor, you begin to wonder, since when did the CBN governor begin to dabble into political affairs? And it is
from
worrisome.
when he wanted to run for president, it was obvious.
It is worrisome. You see, people are not, I'm sorry to say this, some people are not thinking these things are right. Now, go back to the economics of this matter. The IMF, the World Bank, Nigerian Bar Association, Nigerian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, leading think tanks in Nigeria have called out to the CBN and to say, what you're about to do has not been done anywhere in the world before. Nowhere. Now, let us interrogate the figures. In the US, my dear brother and sister, with a population of 300 million, as at the end of 2022, with the figures obtained from the Treasury Department in the US, the currency in circulation in the US, cash, was $2.3 trillion. Calculate just 1 trillion in Naira, that is 740 trillion Naira. You see the wide gap between what is in circulation in US, and I couldn't calculate the 2.3. I don't know what comes after 100 trillion. What comes after maybe 1 billion trillion? I don't know how to calculate it, but just calculate only 1 trillion. In the UK, they have a total volume of currency circulation at 4.5 billion, that is notes. But the total value is 83 billion pounds. Calculate that in Naira for a population of less than 70 million people. Nigeria has in circulation only 3.5 trillion Naira because Nigeria has gone very far in cashless policy already. Secondly, cash to GDP ratio globally, Nigeria is one of the lowest. America has a cash to GDP ratio of 10%. Nigeria has a cash to GDP ratio of 1.8%.
Before you go on with that thought, let's go on a quick break right now and we'll come back to hear from you. You can also join the conversation right now on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja.
This is Nigeria Info.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Nigeria Info.
Halts position on the new Naira note, halting the federal government and the CBN move to phase out the Naira note by the 10th of December, and saying while this is still
February.
of February. Thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know where my head went for a second. By February. We're streaming live on YouTube. I want to see you guys watching us on YouTube. Our YouTube is at Nigeria Info ABJ. At Nigeria Info ABJ on YouTube and Facebook also. So, Doctor, just before we get to the next story, quickly, you were making a point.
The UK, for example, their cash to GDP ratio is 3%.
Okay.
Still higher than Nigeria's cash to GDP ratio. Now, the question is, Nigeria was already close enough. So what problem are you trying to solve by migrating people further into the cashless platform, which is already widely in use? Okay, nobody's even against any form of limitations on cash withdrawal. You have a limit of 500,000 per individual per week, right? 5 million weekly for...
Based on the Money
entities.
Laundering Act, which they were forced to comply with when a son
The question
brought it
is
up.
this. I walk into a bank in a week. Make the new notes available for me for that limit you have set. The CBN has not been able to meet that limit. You're now rationing currencies. You go to banks, some banks give you 2,000 naira per withdrawal, some 10, some 20, maximum is 20. It is not right. You cannot be rationing money. Once you see queued up at the what do you call it, ATMs, you don't see a senator queuing or children. You don't see governors queuing there. These are people that are working from hand to mouth, that are living from hand to mouth. Sometimes they receive this money as assistance. They need to withdraw all of it. So you now select them to multiple trips to the bank every day just to withdraw their own money. At the end of the day, they now get less value for what the ordinary should have gotten.
Isn't it this whole thing to head us in the direction of the cashless policy even more? I know you say yes, we already
They
on
set a
what you...
limit. That is the essence of the limit. You said we cannot withdraw beyond 500,000 per week. That is already a limit which we have been allowed to withdraw before.
No, but what if some people hoard it? I mean, we know of people who hoard money.
I think we're not getting each other. You have set a limit. Those that are hoarding money, there are security agents to deal with it.
Okay.
And I'm talking about me. I'm talking about that people gathered at polling at ATMs now that are dying of hunger, that are becoming frustrated, that might begin to take the laws into your hands if this nonsense continues. I'm saying, if you have said those people are entitled to 500,000 per week, and somebody is there that wants to withdraw 40,000, why are you not able to provide even that within your own limits that you have set? There's no country in the world without cash. It is not possible. All over the world, cashless is a function of financial lifestyle. That is, you, for example, have black and white television sets. Today you have a Wi-Fi enabled set. It's a lifestyle thing. You cannot say people should automatically stop in around TV and begin to buy. No, you do that. And monies are meant to circulate, to be spent. Monies are not meant to be kept in the bank. No.
But we also hear that the old Naira notes are hard to come by. You have to pay
because
extra
they
to
have been
even get them.
migrated to the CBN vote. So this order simply means CBN should release this money back, as it is done everywhere. The two must go until you're able to saturate this. Most Nigerians will willingly dump the old notes for the new one. Why would you hold on to new notes to the old to have new ones? Now talking about fight against electoral practices and vote buying. There are laws against vote buying. It is contained in the Electoral Act. It's an electoral offense.
But
you have the police, you have the DSS, you have civil defense. President Muhammadu Buhari is the commander-in-chief of all of them. If you cannot get them to arrest those that are buying votes...
But Dr. Majeed, you can't continue to do the same old thing I expect.
No, they were not doing it before. Have you ever seen anybody that was arrested and protected for vote buying in Nigeria? No. So let them begin to do it now. Look, let me tell you how votes are bought, how their die is done. PDP chieftains or APC chieftains, all the traditional party chieftains, all the people that are involved in vote buying, all the traditional parties, whoever is going to share election money, it is in his residence, mostly the party leader in the state. Sometimes it's in government houses. Gather there, all the party chieftains, those that are controlling, you gather there. They down formula to say, okay, this is government, this ward. They distribute the money. The people that will escort these monies to their houses are security agents.
But do these agents know what to look out for in terms of clicking votes by?
Let me tell you a secret. You see these VIP that are attached with DS officials and police. Those security agents are mandated every day to send a report to headquarters of every activity of VIP. It's part of their schedule. Wherever he goes, wherever he sees, whatever he does, if he visits his girlfriend, if he visits his mama, you have to report it. So as you are there, as they are there, protecting them, but they cannot arrest their principals. But they are protecting them, but they see money being brought into my house. It's their duty to report quickly that money is brought in for vote buying. The former ADC to President Jonathan was accused of one of those who shared money for election, for example, a security agent. So, Mr. President, these are your employees. You are their commander-in-chief. Get them the needful. And I want you it proper. When somebody parks his car, they park their car, or if the police goes to the house, you notice that people are moving into the house and coming out and smiling. The officer on duty is supposed to signal the party to come in there and arrest the person and go and prosecute. Don't suffocate people to death because of what you can do simply by activating institutions against vote buying and electoral crimes.
Now, Dr. Majeed, let's talk about the implication of this on the election as well. Now, 14 of 18 political parties initially threatened they're going to boycott the elections, and they're just, they took the case to court, they got a ban, but right now we see an extension temporarily until the 15th. What does this mean? Would they still stand by their word? Because it's going beyond the 10th of February.
You know the tragedy of this situation? This is the first time that the money policy has been politicized and submitted to judicial interpretation. It is something that should make every Nigerian sad. A monetary policy is supposed to be purely economic. So that whether APC, PDP, wherever you belong to, it is pronounced, you have no reason to doubt because it is to make your life better. And if anyone tells you that any policy that will be better will make you difficult first, it's online, is absolutely a liar. In 1929, when they went into Great Depression, the President of America, President Roosevelt, who was elected in that year's election, he took the advice of John Maynard Keynes, a British economist, to say, look, government has to intervene directly to survey the situation. And he did. He brought out Americans from poverty. He resolved the problem through his deal approach. And he got elected for a record fourth term. First and last in the history of America. You know why? His antidote was working incrementally. Recently, there was COVID across the world, direct to the world. Western government, America, Britain, everybody brought out money to ameliorate the suffering of people. That is a policy that works for all. Nobody was going to suffer more before it got better. No, monies were pumped to ameliorate it. In 2008, when there was a global recession again, Americans brought out money to bail out banks, to bail out industries, to save jobs and salvage the economy. That is how economies work. Any policy that gets people to kill at the ATMs and are struggling for their own money and are now cooking and are now rioting because of their money, it's not a good policy. Because the policy is not what you say, it's what you do. For it to be a good policy, you get a limit. Nobody's quarreling with cashless policy in Nigeria. The limit should be available. You say I should take about a week. Make it available in the new currency before you ban the old. If you ban the old without making it available in the new currency, it's chaos. By Friday, let me tell you, the non-security implication. Friday is supposed to be the line. Most banks are already not going for work on Friday. You know why? They don't have the new notes to give a sufficient country. And it's a weekend. How do you put such a deadline on a weekend? People are likely to vent their anger on the banks already.
We've seen it play out in some parts of the country.
The CBN consistently blamed the banks for sabotaging the policy by using a few examples of people who may have kept the cash for their project cost as example, which is actually a misleading thing because not all the banks are doing that. Not all the banks are doing that. The truth is there is scarcity of this note. You cannot print at one governor, as I said, which everything has not contradicted, only 300 billion in an economy that had 3 trillion for. Which was not even well okay. Not all of us are rich. Not all of us have this money. We're only managing. I expect the country to descend into anarchy and chaos and social disorder that would delay the election and bring that probably the government lead to state failure. What are you playing with in this country? Because of stop vote buying. She want to burn on the house because they're looking for a house rat. I don't understand this kind of policy. Right. So again, emphasis. Nobody's against Naira design. Nobody's against cashless. No, we have been used to it. I can't remember just to a bank to cash money over the counter. Can't remember. I don't need it. I have cards that can transact up to 10 million Naira in one city. So what do I need to go to bank? That is me. I can afford to buy Akamu from ShopRite. I can afford to buy Pepper from ShopRite. That is me. There are people that don't belong to this category. They are the ones affected. It is the big man you think affected and not affected. They are only speaking out now. It became obvious. Social disorder is one thing that no big man wants to hear. Because where I live, for example, I'm not among the big men. So there's a social disorder to a revolutionary proportion. The hoodlums around my area were also seen as their own big man. They will eject me from my house, take it over, and push me to the streets. That's how revolutions happen. If nobody is spared. As long as you are well off a little, you are not spared. Everybody sees you as their problem. That is what this government has to stop. So sometimes let us begin to separate issues, facts from fiction.
Okay, the Supreme Court coming at this point in time, and it means that we're going to be using the old new together.
In 2014.
But will this even make cash more in circulation?
In 2014, just to answer your question, the ECBN issued a new 100 Naira note to commemorate our centenary. Nobody asked to bring back the old notes by fire by force. And they created until the new ones saturated the system. In 2015, Jonathan Goodluck, former president of Nigeria, conducted what is perhaps the best election in the Fourth Republic. He lost that election to the opposition, who is now President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari did not spend 1 naira at any polling to get 1 vote. He was involved in his campaign. Somebody actually questioned me that I was one of those who created polling for them. I take responsibility for that. We contributed money for him. What am I saying in essence? To subject Nigerians to this hardship because you think that Nigerians are so dumb and so corrupt as to vote only along money lines, it's indicative of the level at which our leaders actually perceive us to be. It is not true. He benefited from a clean election that was not monetarily induced on his own side. So why does he think that the same Nigerians that voted for him for free, believing that he was a messiah, don't have the capacity to vote for whether we don't vote for in 2023 without going through this stress because you want to arrest vote buying? When there are better ways to do it.
All right. We'll get to see how the next few days turn out now that the Supreme Court has waded in. Will the CBN inject more of the cash in circulation?
They have it in their
old
votes.
And new.
They should release.
Would it
because
not even be
CBN,
silly to have put the country through this horror
that is
and
the
this pain
platform
and then inject the
long
old
before
notes back?
Tinubu made his objections and before Atiku now joined. And that yesterday was on TV that he said the CBN has no business formulating monetary policies that are politically motivated. It's an abomination economically. It distorts the entire ecosystem. What am I saying in essence? There are better ways to fight vote buying. In any case, this is what they're going to. Those that will win have already won. No? Those that will lose have already lost. And just a middle of them are going to vote for. If you bring 1 billion that day on the polling unit, it won't affect anybody's vote. It won't influence anybody. People that are doing street protests, street rallies up and down, you think it is someone that will now sway them on election day. How much are you going to give them on that day after they made up their minds?
Okay. Let's look at some comment quickly before we get to the next story.
All right, going straight to YouTube right now. You can watch live at Nigeria Info Abuja. Do all to subscribe and click on the little bell to get notifications. So Inya says, yay, great to be here. Good to have you there.
Thank you, Dr. Inya.
Olude Ademola, you're right. I'm not sure what you're reacting to right there. Latif. Missed your message. Ooh, okay. Latif Bolore says, Dr. Majeed, you're doing well, sir. I always badun your analysis. Godwin Naite, good policy, bad timing, poor implementation. The way Nigerians are paying to get the Naira, even the new note is not available. The old note, 10,000 Naira, you pay 2,000 to 3,000 as charges when you cash out from the POS stands. Isaac Moses, good afternoon. Happy to see you. Okay, let our federal government hear and do the right things. Timothy J, I'm excited for the turning of this for the first time, reacting to the Supreme Court ruling right there.
All right, I can't seem to find the comments on Facebook, so we'll read more of those.
All right, let's mark some more messages on our YouTube. Dr. Dahiru, good evening. Good analysis, very factual, but you're wrong for condemning the policy. I don't think I
condemn the policy. I think people should listen. I didn't condemn the policy of either resigning note or the cashless policy. We are saying produce enough note to meet the limits you have set.
Okay.
That is the question we're trying to resolve. If you have not been able to do that, why are you stopping the issuance of the old notes? Why the hurry? When other countries have allowed theirs to stay for 10 years, for 2 years, and for longer time. That is all we are saying.
All right, so he continues saying that he sees nothing wrong with this policy, but it needs an improvement in terms of implementation. And Monday, Giwa, okay, saying a prayer for you, that he prays the government includes you in their government. And okay, Abdul Wahid Amzat, this Naira swap thing doesn't sit well with me at all. It's just a ploy to create unnecessary hardship for the masses. Engage Africa. The plan is to drive Nigeria to a state of anarchy. What they forget is that when the country burns, we will all be consumed. Okay, that's it.
All right, just before we get to the next story, let's hear 2 callers and then we get to the next story. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to you.
Dr. King. Good afternoon, Dr. Majeed. I'm Mr. Itodo.
Welcome, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Chris. Honestly speaking, I'm enjoying the analysis, especially from Dr. Majeed. Today is Wednesday. Whenever it's Wednesday, I'll just go and park my car one corner and begin to listen. But I just want to simply disagree when Dr. Majeed said that the security personnel that are attached to some of these politicians, they are mandated to bring back reports, to those who assign them to wherever they are. Yeah, that might be true, but I can tell you for a fact that no security attached to anybody. No security man what he saw attached to any big man that will do the accurate and give them the correct information. The reason is very, very simple. Whatever they are getting from that man they are attached to, if they make mistakes to lose that place, they will deploy them to the desert. They know what they are doing. The only thing they are hoping to get when they get back, maybe when they retire, it's just the retirement benefit. But what they are taking from that man, one life, even if you carry citizens to that politician house, they will never report that.
All right, sir.
And these are the people I've worked with before. So it will not work.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome to you.
The king,
Welcome.
welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Evangelist, I greet you.
Good afternoon to you.
Mr. Majeed, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
sir. Now, as the Supreme Court has given order, I hope the security agency will help us go into all the banks, including CBN, because the other day, Emefiele was telling us that they have recovered how many trillion of old notes. I hope we will not hear from them that they have put all it on fire, because some bank manager now will hide the money. They will go to CBN to go and bring the money out, and they will start hiding it by telling us that their phrases were on fire. That's the next thing you will hear now, Mr. Majeed. From tomorrow, we will still continue discussing.
I don't doubt this caller.
We will not see the old one. That's my thinking, because I know what this country can. Look at the manager of the bank that they are talking about. We don't know his name today. We don't know the bank, the one that affected 29 million naira. Where people are suffering, and his village people are among of those who are suffering, is moving around inside the bank and coming out. I saw yesterday in Fidelity Bank Center yesterday. They are hugging themselves with all the workers and managers.
All right, all right.
They should go follow them.
All right, sir.
They should bring the money out. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, my name is Lema from Lugbe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Majeed, may God bless you.
Bless you,
You
too.
know, whenever you're on air, you are always apt and precise and concise. You know, we need more of you. Personally, let me give my own example, on a personal note. To be honest, I think over 2 years or 3 years now, I've not stepped my foot into banking hall, because almost, if you see me going to the bank, maybe when my ATM card expires, that is where I only go to the bank and take my ATM card. But apart from that, I don't think I have anything to go to the bank to do anything, But now, let me give this was just orchestrated to frustrate us, so that we Nigerians should get angry. When we get angry, we should protest, so that they will know what to do concerning the election. I think I stand to be corrected. Last week, I traveled home. You understand? Do you know that I was looking for just 2,000 naira? Thank God we have fuel in the car. 2,000 naira to buy food. On our way back, we could not get 2,000 naira. I'm telling you the truth. No POS guy had 2,000 naira in my own local government as at then. Which is very, very annoying and frustrating. What are you doing? If tracking those that money, or tracking the kidnappers and the bandits, they know how to do. Some of us have little knowledge on security. They know how to do it. Just as Mr. Majeed said, let all those guys have been guarded by government, trained security agencies. Those guys can be they can bring feedback to the government if at all they want to get all those people. So they know them. So God help us in this.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
You see, news just coming in has it that the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions employees have threatened to withdraw services over attacks on the members nationwide. We got this intelligence today that if this deadline is not extended and notes are not available, banks are going to go on strike before Friday. Imagine what happened to Nigerians who need money to survive, to go to the banks on Friday and meet banks closed. Do you know the anarchy that will ensue? Why are we having this conversation? Where in the world has this happened before? That you have a policy of return of Naira, and you have created this level of scarcity that some people are accused of hoarding, and people are selling Naira notes to each other. I was in my village, like this young man said, I was in my village over the weekend. I bought 85,000 Naira for 17,000 Naira, and it took 48 hours to mop it up from the entire 5 government area of my constituency. 48 hours. Yes, I had to pay ahead though. I had to pay down and wait there. And I had to chase people around to get the money. Money were being ferried from Abuja by road to the village. Yes. So you are trying to fight to impose so-called cashless policy, you have only succeeded in creating cash policy, having a cash full system that is actually scarce on cash. So this is not working. Whatever you want to do, if you must do, let it work.
Right.
You should have put in enough notes to meet your own limits. Again, I'm not talking about. Nobody's arguing about the limit. The limit you have set. You say I'm entitled to 10 naira per day. Let the 10 naira be available without house rules. That is what we are asking the CBN to do. And if you are able to do that, you cannot insist on the deadline on Friday. You want to create chaos. Now, you want to create anarchy.
With this extension, how long should we hope that things get back to normal?
From the analysis I've given to you and from what experts have said, again, the IMF has just issued a statement that government should extend the deadline. IMF. World Bank has warned that if you don't extend this deadline and the first scarcity, it will delay elections. The World Bank. The national, what do you call it, NACIMA, National Nigerian Association of Chamber of Commerce, of Commerce and Industry, have said the same thing. Nigerian Bar Association have said the same. Economists have said the same thing. I don't think all of these people can be wrong, including myself, and only Emefiele and Buhari is right. Now they have convened the Council of State meeting for Friday. It tells you that Nigeria is in crisis already. Nigeria is on edge. Security agents have spoken to that can speak to say, look, this will impede on our operations. Why do you go ahead with the policy if there's nothing ulterior about it? What is it? What is the issue? And again, nobody's against cashless policy. We've already been in it. Right. In Nigeria, you pay for your utilities from your phone. You transfer money to your loved ones from your phone. You go out for shopping, you pay through your cards. But there's no problem without cash.
All right, Dr. Majeed.
That cash component is not harmful. It's not difficult. So if you must do Naira swap, allow these old ones to continue. If you don't have the new ones, but if you have the new ones, you can stick with your deadline.
All right.
Do you have the new ones?
Let's take some feedback right now.
Let's take feedbacks and then get to the next story. Let's see. Welcome to the mic. Thank you very much. Alhaji Bola for Mushafa. Great, Dr. Majeed. Good to see you again. Welcome back in. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Swat. This is Kim. Itodo, Dr. Majeed. They're talking about hardship by Nigerians. Please, is Nigerians suffering before this cashless policy before it? So why now? People should not be celebrating first because it's over. They're quick to extend the new Naira note policy, but they're not quick to rule on banks making old Naira notes available for the people. What does it profit Nigerians if extension was made? But these currencies are not available for the general public to use. As for me, this extension is for the benefit of money politicians who've stocked the money for years because of vote buying. Please collect their money and vote against them for the sake of our country. They must go.
All right, this one from Henry Simon Abba says, on the circulation of the new Naira notes, I spoke with my mom in the village far away Benue State, Ogbadibo precisely. All she told me is that there is no cash to buy food ingredients, even when she got the major food items from their farm. Please, people are suffering here. I pay 1,000 Naira to get my own 5,000 Naira. What a country.
Indeed, what a country. Dr. Majeed, India, Indonesia, US, at one point withdrew and introduced new cash policy and it worked. So learned that the CBN Act of 1990 asked CBN on the policy. I think we should give them time to fully implement the cashless policy. Samuel Abba from Abba.
Nobody has talked about what is against the change of the color or the shape of Naira. Make it available on the bank. Look, it's not my business if you are changing the color of the Naira. What I want is, I go to my bank, like another Nigerian, and I want my money within the limits you have said, let it be available.
But Dr. Majeed, we had a conversation sometime back, looking at how easy it is to mop up cash in circulation if we put the equivalent of what was in circulation before. For example, I was discussing with someone yesterday, it was a bit off, and we're saying how easy it is for, bandit to bring 100 million, and you can easily, in 24 hours, get 100 million Naira.
Can I tell you about this issue just raised? That's what people have pointed out, and I already had more money within the banking sector.
Within?
52 trillion is the money supply.
Will not agree with
Emefiele himself said it, that the money supply is 52 trillion. You know what that means?
Within the banking sector.
Yes, that is bodies that you, I'll give an example. As we dealer with Obajana, a major dealer, say in Abuja, you discover that the money I pay to Obajana to get supplies, I'll put it to the bank. I can't take it physically to Obajana in local to pay. No. So some of these large transactions are done online, strictly. The politicians about they are stolen funds, if you may. I actually invested in some of these businesses that are legit. I don't know if you get my point. I didn't mention any business. I'm just saying they have fronts. When someone steals some money, he invested in real estate and other companies. They run it. If you want to buy a house today, nobody will take it from you to buy a house. If you want to buy a car today, you have to pay to the bank. Because of the risk, fake alert, so many things are involved. So what in essence is the bulk of the money circulation in Nigeria is online already. People pay from bank to bank continuously. The cash you are seeing is just the minimum that is required to flesh up the economy, particularly the informal sector. So we are saying, how more cashless can Nigeria be? However, if you have imposed further cashless limits, no problem. Make it available within the threshold of the limit you have set.
All right.
Simple.
Okay, did we read all of this? Engage Africa?
Yes, we did that. That was the last message.
From Engage Africa?
Yes.
Okay, Abdul Wahid, the Naira swapping doesn't sit with me at all. It's just a ploy to create unnecessary hardship for the masses. Engage Africa also went on to say the plan is to drive Nigerians to a state of anarchy. What they forget is that when the country burns, we are all consumed. Belema, Tatafu, Naija. Abiodun Alemede. Oh, doctor, we need this wealth of knowledge at Lugard House, please. Joy Zaza, thank you so much, Mr. Major. I love your analysis, sir. The CBN policy does not make much sense to me at this point. That's some of the comments from our YouTube channel. And before we go on this quick break, here's some callers and we get to the next story.
Good afternoon to you.
Hello?
Hello? Okay, not there. Welcome. Hello?
Good afternoon, Nigeria Info family.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Itodo, the celebrity on air personality of the world. Good afternoon, Kimberly. You are still in the studio. Wow. Great job.
Thank you.
I remember how Batifada Abubakar Ali, I'm calling from PW. I remain the unapologetic Gabanista. If I had known Mr. Majeed would be on, I would have stick around to have 1 or 2 words with my mentor. Good afternoon, Dr. Majeed, sir. Yeah. Let me appeal to all our esteemed listeners that what the debate that we had, whatever they had, is started in the studio and ended in the studio. Please, we hit each other and we moved on. We are just there to defend our party passionately and nothing more, nothing personal. Dr. Majeed, I agree with you in totality. We do not have the right architecture to effect the deadline. That is just the reality. That is the humble truth. And most of the bankers, the Nigeria in them have refused to allow them to allow the policy work. Everybody see it as an avenue to self-enrichment. It is unfortunate and it is very bad. It is a policy that if we implement it to the latter, it will help the federal government, one, by getting our tax revenue will rise, because for every transaction you will be taxed, and it means the government will not miss a single call. 2, it will be easier to trace who get what at what time. 3, it will stop this issue of ransom payment, illegal financial transaction, and so it is the timing. Nobody is complaining, but the timing is just too short.
All right.
Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity. Kim, you are one of the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Batify. Appreciate you. All right. Go ahead, Dr.
Now, there's something on security that you raised, and the last call I also raised. It might interest you to know 2 things today. When this was announced about Naira redesign, the first set of abductees in Sanford, the abductors announced that this one that we have adopted, you have to wait until you get Naira notes and bring it to us. You know what that means? If they abducted him today, God forbid, your family and friends that want to help you to raise the money will have to be going to the bank to queue where they can get it. If it takes them 2 years to get the money, the bandits are not sorry. The persons will be there.
No, but it's going to frustrate their plan.
The
time is of the essence.
No, the bandit don't need time. Because he's in the forest, he's not in the town. What am I saying? If you want to tackle security, please send security forces to fight bandits. Secondly, it might interest you to know that the Abuja Kaduna transit train that was derailed.
Yes.
The abductors didn't pay in Naira. They paid in dollars. And that's why Atiku Mamu is in detention. I know that they've released him. He coordinated it. He will give you the vehicle and the security and direct you to the Bureau of Change. They're going to change the money from in Abuja to Kaduna. Let us stop punishing people for the failure of those in government. That's my point. My concern is the man in Benin that they talked about that doesn't have food to eat. That's concern. I cannot sit down here and rationalize a policy that is getting hunger and poverty. The last time this happened anywhere in the world was in 1984 in a country called Nigeria under a president called General Mamadu. This was the same thing. People died. People committed suicide. You cannot fight inflation. You fight insecurity. You cannot fight vote by designing around Naira cars. No.
All right.
No, nobody support it. It's not right.
Okay. All right, then we've got 3 minutes before we get to the news, and let's bring on the story of the census up next. Insecurity may challenge 2023 census. National Security Advisor. We still have that in view, talking about the census for this year.
And of course, we also saw that INEC met with the NSA regarding security for the election, as well as with CBN, to ensure that they have enough cash to be able to pay the partners they're working with. But there's still something that they need to pay them in cash, that most of them do not have
National
bank
Union of Road
accounts.
Transport Workers that are going to the hinterland to buy fuel and supply electoral materials. How do you pay them electronically? Why are we not really... Sometimes you begin to wonder.
No, but how are they able to trace the payments if they have to all be paid in cash? How do you ensure that you are not overpaying them for their service?
Thank you very much. You have a budget. You have to bring back receipts. If you go to most fueling stations, you see government vehicles, fueling cars, or government paid for fuel, government payments for fuel, you must collect your receipts as backup. So usually they have contracted them. They have factored in their own petrol money in it. They give it to
Dr.
them.
Majeed, you're saying to organize the National Road Transport Workers, he has to be in cash?
Of course.
No.
Yes.
It's just difficult to believe that
No,
we
it's
have
not
to reduce it down to cash level for National Union.
Because they're going to the hinterland to... Do you know how large Nigeria is? Over 900,000 square kilometers of landmass. So you expect a transporter to enter into the forest or into the creeks, and is attempting to pay for money, to pay for fuel, or pay his conductor and other people that are working with him with whatever. Then the people that will offload from the vehicle into the various places, you don't start looking for account number to pay them. Even in America, they pay with cash. I don't know why somebody's correct.
We need to go for the news.
It is important for operations
right now
of this nature.
All right, then. We'll go for the news. When we come back, we'll look at more of the stories we have for the roundtable. We just might be able to take one more story beyond what we've looked at, because this is the biggest story of today, actually. Stay with 95.1 Nigeria Info.